801 say? Tab.
Oh, I have one of them.
Do you want the verbatim or do you want what you said?
What's the thrust?
Wait, what did you just say?
I
You
got
want
it,
the
I
what?
got it.
Verbatim.
Verbatim
Oh,
or what you said? Okay.
No, I don't need you to read
My
the quote
fault.
verbatim. Just tell me, someone tell me what 801 does. What is 801?
It specifies what hearsay is.
Right, so it gives you the definition of hearsay?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Hearsay. Alright, now let's stop there. By the way, this is illegible, so if anyone has any questions, I'll tell you what I have. For someone who doesn't know what hearsay is. No, seriously, like, does anyone not know what hearsay is? It's really not helping my analogy here. If you think about hearsay literally, it's actually the flip of what it sounds like. It's you say what you heard. That's all it is. So, what are the three parts of hearsay, the three requirements for something to be hearsay under the rule?
It has to be out of court.
That's the first one. Right. It's, well, what's a better place to start?
It has to be a statement.
Right. Hold on, you're jumping. You're jumping. Alright, first thing you need is a statement. What's the second thing you need?
Out of court.
It's got to be made out of court. And the third
Truth matter asserted.
is offered for the truth. Alright, now, how do we determine whether something is hearsay? Or how do we determine whether something is a statement?
Did someone say it?
It's an oral or written
Assertion.
assertion.
Oral
Oral or written assertion.
It could also be a
Non-verbal.
conduct of a
Non-verbal.
person.
Alright,
if
so
it's
someone,
It's intended
As
as
it-
an assertion.
alright, Jackie, give me the all-inclusive definition of what a statement is.
A statement is an oral or written assertion or non-verbal conduct of a person if it is intended by the person as an assertion.
Alright. Now, does anyone remember how you determine whether or not something is an assertion or not? Emilio?
Oh, an assertion? Well, there has to be an intention. There has to be
Intention to what?
an intention to communicate
Right.
something.
Right. And what was it's positional. An assertion is something
Yeah,
that's
it's not
positional.
neutral. It's for either or rather one side or another.
Right. The best way to think about an assertion is if you're negotiating over something. One person wants one thing out of the bargain, the other person wants the other thing. They're positional. So you're taking a side. Strip away the whole negotiation aspect. That's really just what an assertion is. It's just something when you take a position on something. So, that means that under 801, there are three main requirements for something to be hearsay. And within this first requirement, there are two other requirements. That it be an oral, written, or nonverbal one. Two, assertion. Are we clear on that? So, Megan, nodding my head yes in response to your question. Is that an assertion?
No,
Why?
because,
You're wrong, but tell me why you think you're right.
no,
You think you're wrong now?
yeah.
Well, you're actually right.
Well, it's not an assertion, but it still counts as hearsay,
You're
right?
very easily manipulated. Yes, it is. Now, what if I say that I think that chair is pink? Assertion or not assertion?
Yeah, assertion.
Assertion.
No, you're not taking a side.
Okay, so are you saying that the fact are you referring to the word to the inclusion of the word think? Because I'm not quite sure of the color.
I would say if the chair's pink and you're saying that it's pink, you're not really taking a side. The facts are that it's pink.
But he's sure that he thinks it's pink.
That's exactly it. It doesn't matter what the truth of the statement is. Ignore that third part of hearsay. What?
Well, go finish your sentence, but I have a question about the nodding thing for
Okay.
clarification.
All right. It doesn't matter what the actual truth of the statement is. If I'm taking a side, whether or not that side is correct, it still is an assertion. It's positional. So,
For clarification, did you say a nod?
yeah, I was just messing around with it. It is.
It is an assertion,
It
right?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was right, just so.
You were right, yes. So an assertion can be either a response to someone's question or your own statement. Side note, get used to using the terminology of a declarant. The declarant is the person who makes the statement when you're talking about hearsay. And it makes sense when you think about what an assertion is, because an assertion is really just a declaration. Thus, that's the root of the word declarant. You guys see how that makes sense? If you're declaring something, you're a declarant. All right. So that does it for the statement part. What does it mean to be out of court?
You can't be under oath. Like, you can't be testifying right there about, it's not under oath. Like, it's a statement that was made outside of that particular courtroom that you're testifying in.
Can it be under the grounds of another courtroom, or does it have to be out of
It's
trial
that proceeding,
right? That
proceedings
proceeding.
entirely?
It's the proceeding you're
Right.
you're
Right.
in.
What I said last week, and it's still true this week, is that it is out of court if it is not made in that court at that time in that proceeding. That doesn't mean that if you have a 3-day trial, something that you said on Monday is hearsay because it was made, because now you're talking about it again on Wednesday. But the point is that it generally, for the second prong of hearsay, it has to be made out of court in a separate proceeding. Okay, so that's that. Now, what does it mean for something to be offered for the truth of, as the language of the rule reads, it's offered for the truth of the matter asserted? What does that mean?
Going back to your, I think the ball was pink example, the chair, whatever, ball. Where it takes into consideration what counsel is using that statement for. If we're using that statement for the fact that Andrew did in fact think that the chair was pink, then it is offered for the truth of the matter asserted. If you're offering that statement to see what Katya's reaction was to your statement, the chair is pink, then you're not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted.
Alright, that's exactly it. It's not the truth of the statement, Marco, like we were talking about just a moment ago. It doesn't matter whether or not the statement itself is factually correct. It's really a matter, what's the purpose of me offering the statement? Am I offering it for the truth? Am I offering it to show that I think that the chair is pink? I'm not offering to show that it's pink, but rather that I thought that it's pink. It's a subtle distinction, and that means that when you read things and when you think about exceptions, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, but when you talk about it, when you read a statement, you have to read it literally and think about what is the proponent of the statement. What are they trying to do with that statement? What's the purpose behind getting that statement out? That's going to determine whether or not it qualifies as hearsay. Now, if something qualifies as hearsay under Rule 801, what's the result in terms of evidence?
It's inadmissible.
It's inadmissible. Unless you have what?
An exception or an exemption.
An exception or an exemption.